Hey guys, Curtis here. Just want to give a little bit of update and making a slight change to the channel in which how I release videos, so it's a little more scheduled, not only for you guys to kind of expect what's going to happen, but also to put me on a little scheduler. So every Thursday is going to be a sit and talk in which I go more in detail of a topic that I've previously discussed, or just to kind of talk about Tekken in general, or what you should do, or even just the psychology of a different matchup and everything else. So that's always going to happen on Thursday, but Monday through Wednesday should be either a King video or a Tekken 7 video as normal. And very soon we're going to have kind of the matchup kind of videos in which what should King do in different situations versus different characters. And if you don't play King, well, you can still watch that. It's very good defensive practice, and I try to make general terms whenever possible. If you haven't already, there's another sit and talk video in which we ask for a matchup, so go there, make a comment of who you want to look at. It looks like the first character I'll be looking at is Xiao Yu, but please continue to post on that kind of thread so I know what characters you guys are having trouble with, so I can go a little bit more. But today's sit and talk is kind of building off what I previously talked about. A long time ago I talked about the differences between practice, training, playing, and competing, and I wanted to elaborate a little bit more on specifically practice and training. And so I have 5 things that I'm going to discuss with you in which how you can properly practice and train to get better at Tekken. So watching videos, watching me play, or even watching more professional players play games is a good way to do things. It's benchmarking, in which you're not really, you as a viewer may learn something new, but if all you do is sit and watch videos and you don't play at all, it's really not going to make a difference. You're just going to have kind of that knowledge, but you're not going to have the muscle memory or really anything else, the situationalism and the execution to actually play that well. And so I wanted to give some tips that have been very helpful for me for not only Tekken but other fighting games that hopefully you guys can start employing. So the first thing that I want to talk about is you need 3 people to really practice and train. You need a minimum of 3 people. If you just have 2, it's not going to be as helpful. And if you just have 1, you're just kind of online warrior, you're going to reach kind of these plateaus in which your play is stagnant because you need kind of that feedback loop of knowing what's going on. So why you have 3 people is 2 people are going to be playing and the third one is going to be watching. And not only that, you're going to be kind of building off each other. Everyone has a very distinct play style, and having 3 people, just in my experience, you're going to hit a very big range. In general, there's 2 play styles. There's kind of Pitbull, which is super aggressive playing, and then there's a Turtle style, which is very defensive. And there's better times to be a Pitbull, there's better times to be a Turtle, and even in Tekken, some characters are better at aggressive compared to defensive. I'd more prefer a very defensive style, and luckily one of my very good practice partners was a very aggressive style. So not only was I seeing how to defend against a very aggressive player, he needed to figure out how to break against a very defensive player. And then our third member, who we practiced with a ton, he was kind of in that middle. Sometimes he would be a Pitbull, sometimes he would be a Turtle. But we were then able to see a lot of different play styles. It wasn't really about our characters, it was more about our styles in general. Which kind of leads me to point number 2. Play multiple characters. If you're just practicing and you're just training, go ahead and play a couple characters. My biggest word of advice is if you are playing and you say, for example, you really like playing King, but for some reason you keep losing to Xiao Yu over and over and over again, that's a really good indicator that you should pick Xiao Yu. Because if you're having trouble with it, the logic behind it is a lot of other people are having trouble with Xiao Yu, and you might actually do a character switch, or you might find out, oh, you know, I keep trying this, I kept falling for this trap over and over again, but when I tried against other people, they found a solution, and so then you go back to your original character. This is actually how I got very good at Lee. For a long time in like the Tekken 2, Tekken 3 era, I was having major issues against Lee, and so I sat and I trained as Lee, did every single thing that was super annoying, and eventually I got to be a decent Lee player. And so having not only play styles, but a character repertoire, you're going to be able to build as a player. The next thing is you need these 3 people, your play group, to help you find your style. And not just are you an aggressive player, are you a defensive player? That's good information to have, but you also need to know how you learn. For example, when I play Tekken especially, and I'm playing and training with people, I'm almost constantly talking. Oh, that's not safe. Oh, that's negative on block, or this is a frame trap. Don't hit anything. Stop throwing. Stop doing hop kicks, and just constantly talking. And so it's an ongoing learning experience. But one of my practice partners, he couldn't talk at all during a match. But after a match, you could theoretically talk about what happened, what you should do in a situation, and then we'd go into practice mode and practice it. But during that practice, he was basically dead silent. And then there's the third style which we had, in which people would need to figure it out on themselves. They don't want to be told, oh, stop doing that, it's very bad, or anything else. Even if you say, do this situation, they're not going to believe you because they have to do it. They really have to ingrain it in themselves. And one style isn't better than the other, but you need to understand how you like to practice, and if you're consistently practicing with the same people, let them know of hey, when we're playing a game, can you not talk so much, but afterwards we can discuss it, or I just really need to figure this out on myself. And it's up to you to find out who you are within that spectrum. Not one's better than the other, you just need to figure out who you are in that situation. Point number 4 is it's better to play a little bit every day compared to just once or twice a week or even a month or something like that. Long play sessions are good if you are practicing for tournament play, in which you need to have that endurance and that stamina of that mental endurance and stamina to go through everything. And in a future video I'll talk about tournament preparation before you go into a tournament, but it's better to practice and train a little bit every day. And that even if you load up, play 30 minutes in practice mode, or what is it called? The arcade mode, the treasure battle. If playing treasure battle mode, or if you just play a couple matches online and then stop, that's totally fine. But make sure you're consistently doing things and you're consistently working on what you already know. Hence, you're practicing a little bit every day. Same thing as when you're in school. It's better to work on a project a little bit every day, of learning new material, rather than cramming before the test, because as soon as that test is over, you're going to forget everything. But if you practice a little bit every day, you're really going to learn those skills and those abilities. And the last thing, point number 5 that I'm going to talk about is once you have your play circle, once you've worked on your characters, once you've found out your play style of how you learn, how you play, and you've been putting in the time of practice, it's now really time to branch out. And that's what you're going to kind of leave that plateau, because if it's just your small play circle, you're going to reach these levels in which you're going to hit a plateau and your growth is going to just stagnate. It's not going to move up or down, and you're just kind of not learn anymore. And which it could be you goes out and plays with other people and come back and then you start sharing ideas with your original group, or it could be members of your group that actually go out and play other people and you come back and you share your experiences and you share each other to learn. I was very fortunate to be able to implement all these when I was an undergrad, since I lived with 3 other people that all played fighting games, and literally we practiced whenever we had spare time, and it didn't matter the game, and a lot of times we just kind of messed around, but it helped us find what type of style we like, what type of characters we like, and how we learn. And because we put in that time every single day, all of us got better and better and better. We started to plateau, and so during break we would play with our brothers, play with siblings or other friends in our hometown, and come back and be like, all right guys, this is what we figured out, and then we kind of broke that plateau. That's why undergrad and college is very good experience to do this, because it's a little more in line with what you're doing in your daily life. Compared to high school, it's hard to travel too much and play in different play styles. But that's all I really wanted to talk about today, is kind of the 5 kind of recommendations for practice and training, in which you find a group of at least 3 people. If you have more than 5, I would say that's too much. Like, it needs to be a small group that you can all take turns, watch, and critique on. You need to pick a few characters, especially characters that you're having problems with. Sit down and learn what's really annoying about them to figure out, is this really a big problem, or in which then I'll use, or, oh, it's really not an issue, we found a solution. Third one is find your style of how you learn and also how you play. 4 is play a little bit every day rather than big play sessions fewer times. And then finally, once you've kind of done everything, branch out, and then once you come back to your original play group, you're going to start it all over again, and this is a continual loop of practice and training for fighting. So with that, hopefully you learned something today. If you like what you've heard so far and you've seen other things on my channel, make sure to hit that subscribe button, and we're going to see you guys next time.